Hi, sir, to all of you viewers of Equinoxe Television. It's time for the news. Thank you so much for joining us. Our message starts right away. A student of a private secondary school here in Douala is battling for his life in hospital after he was severely beaten by his teacher. This is happening after the Minister for Secondary Education had prohibited corporal punishment in schools across the national territory. We will be telling you more in this news edition. Plus, the junta in Niger says the family of Ustad President Mohamed Bazoum attempted to escape yesterday in vain. And in Gabon, the president of the transition, General Brice Oligui says he won't receive his salary as president because the former government of Ali Bongo left the country in huge debt. Viewers, those are our major stories. Details when we come back. Welcome back, viewers. Thank you so much for always being faithful. We begin this edition of the news with this interesting element. A 13-year-old student of College Bileng Lagape sadly is currently receiving medical attention after he was mercilessly beaten by his teacher in school. The incident occurred yesterday while they were receiving lectures in class. Our reporter Lucy Liengu Esia was at the hospital where the student is being hospitalized, and equally at the school that is College Lagape here in Douala. She now tells us more in the report which comes up next.
He is in deep pain and his body swollen. 13-year-old Sintad Michel was mercilessly beaten by his teacher. He received more than 25 strokes.
The teachers, after beating him with the cane, he took hand because the cane was broken after he took hand, and there was a lot of blood on his body.
The 14 Espanol student of College Bileng Lagape, according to his friends, was playing in class. As a corrective measure, his teacher of physics and chemistry inflicted severe pain on him.
In the hospital, he was not in a coma state, but he was not far because it was very impossible for him to eat, drink water, take his bath because you cannot touch him.
Little Sintad Michel is currently receiving medical attention at a district hospital in the Cité neighborhood.
And normally he has almost 1 month in the hospital.
In order to get the version of the school, we met with the Dean of Studies, who on behalf of the school administration expressed regrets.
So they were here at 8 a.m. today Friday, and we had an administrative meeting with them, so all the administrators were summoned with the parents and the family members of the child. So we had a long discussion, and the principal took upon himself to take care of the bills.
And equally, measures have been taken. On Monday, 23rd of October, the school will hold a disciplinary council meeting.
At 8 o'clock, so the teacher has been informed already about the disciplinary council. So, and you have here all the members of the disciplinary council and the functions here.
It should be recalled that on the 16th of January 2023, the Minister of Secondary Education, Professor Nalova Lionga, prohibited all forms of corporal punishment in secondary schools across the country.
Sad indeed. And now, do you still remember the teacher who died in a bike accident at the Peka District neighborhood here in the economic capital some weeks back? A ceremony has been organized by teachers and students of the government high school Peka Vente that was on Thursday in honor of that late teacher and colleague who was crushed by a container at the Peka District neighborhood some time ago while she was returning from school. Mala Glory in the report which comes up next tells us that the students and also her colleagues gave wonderful memories of their late teacher.
Bayalal Mira Flo, who was crushed last Friday by a container that fell on her in the Peka District neighborhood, is a teacher at the government high school Peka Vente. Following this sad incident, teachers and students of the said school, including family members, gathered on campus to pay homage to their colleague and teacher. It is with a heavy heart that we learned of Mirel's death. I pray for God to protect the other teachers so that such accidents will never repeat itself. All the students here are our children. Mirelle left her family home in order to impact knowledge in these children. Family members are still in shock and weep for a great loss. Mirelle Desi was a source of joy to her husband and the entire family. Her death has brought about extreme sorrow in the family, especially her husband. She was everything to him until that fateful Friday. After talking to her husband, the school administrators during the event organized in honor of their late teacher used the opportunity to call the attention of the authorities on the safety of teachers with regards to the bad state of the road. May the competent authorities take responsibilities to permit the population live in security. The classes of Terminal, Premier and Segon say they've lost a teacher who was more of a mother to them. She will be buried this Saturday, October 21st in Buda, West region of the country.
May her soul rest in peace. We stay in that part of the town plying the Pika 14, Pika 19 stretch of the Douala Bonnet-Pupa road remains a veritable nightmare to the users and also the local population. The people blame the very deplorable state of the road and a construction company that began works on that stretch some 7 years ago, and the work is still to be completed. For me, Amtrong Sanda has the details.
The gymnastics required for everyone plying the Peka 18, Peka 21 stretch of the Douala Bonnet-Pupa road in the littoral region of Cameroon. For 7 years, this has been the everyday reality of local inhabitants from the Peka 14 up to Peka 21 and above. A veritable nightmare for those trekking like students and pupils in the many schools across the area. Learners are compelled to go to school in dirty shoes with boats and sometimes rain boots. Taxi drivers shy away from the deplorable stretch, leaving local inhabitants at the mercy of courageous commercial motorbike riders. The situation is not better for vehicle owners, light as well as heavy-duty vehicles, who have now been compelled to resort to deviated road stretches in order to avoid the most deplorable patches of the stretch. The traditional ruler of Ngoma Peka 19 blames the deplorable situation on a road construction company awarded the contract to construct the road 7 years ago. He frowned at the fact that the company began by scrapping off the existing tar to later abandon the road. 7 years after construction works began on this stretch, nothing has been realized. Dock-ups created by excavators have touched on water tables, creating patches of artificial lakes along the stretch.
And now we talk health. An oncologist says about 30,000 cancer cases are registered in Cameroon annually. Out of this number, less than 3,000 patients get treated. Most of them lost their lives. According to Professor Muele Sone, a radiation oncologist at the Cameroon Oncology Center, diverse reasons account for this death toll. Let's now have more with Innocent Aze.
These statistics were revealed by oncologists at the Cameroon Oncology Center at Bikoko Douala during a breast cancer screening and sensitization campaign.
Cancer is a serious disease in our country. On the basis of registries, we have almost 30,000 new cancer patients a year. But up to now, we are not able to treat more than 3,000. 3,000 out of 30,000, you understand that 9 out of 10 will end their life in a very bad way.
To physicians, this increased rates of cancer in Cameroon in particular is due to people's negative thoughts.
Let us change our mentality to saying that, no, I don't want to know what is inside me, because when I know, I die before. No. Most of the time, people run from the hospitals. When they come to the hospitals and they tell them that you have cancer, they say, no, I'm going to pray. I have a preach. I'm going to my traditional healer.
Professor Mole Sone urges the Cameroonian people to get screened and begin treatments as early as possible.
Go and check yourself, because as cancer is concerned, when they have seen that it's a very small cancer, the beginning, early stage of discovery, you are sure that you'll be cured, because tomorrow will be too late. The people saying, I went to the hospital, they prescribed me this and that, I finished all my money, but no. Get to screenings. There are only 3,000 people who can be treated out of 30,000 a year. You can't imagine.
At the event, persons treated of cancer testified and encouraged Cameroonians to follow suit, for health is wealth.
And now let's listen to some survivors of cancer. Patient Malayuna was cured of cervical cancer 3 years ago. She encourages Cameroonians to get screened and treated. Meanwhile, Professor Paul Morbit, an oncologist and director of the Cameroon Oncology Center, stresses that the fight against cancer requires the combined efforts of all, including state authorities recently met in Yaoundé. Let's listen to them in this excerpt.
The testimony was about cervical cancer, which I was diagnosed 3 years ago. What I will say personally, that cancer does kill, but if we try to accept it, then follow our treatment, trusting God, remove that fear of cancer. Because I believe it's the fear that kills most, not the cancer itself. So I'm a living testimony, I'm a victim. Accept the situation, follow your treatment, follow whatever the doctor says. It does kill, but we can conquer.
So cancer is not an easy disease to treat, but we are able to use radiation, shape the radiation around the tumor, the cancer, sparing side effects. We also can, because we are able to do that, we can also increase the dose and therefore increase curability of the disease. So we are far different from them, from what L'Hôpital General is doing. We are doing much more. We are current. They are not current. We are very current. Well, this was the first time I was personally meeting with the minister, so I wanted to update him of what we've been doing, how we've been treating Cameroonians, and so the message was well received. He saw that we were doing an excellent job. I also wanted to discuss with him about subvention to reduce what patients have to pay out of pocket, and also training. So from there, I talked with the dean of the medical school of Yaoundé, and so we are going to be forming a joint effort to train radiation oncologists and radiotherapy technicians.
Let's remember, our health is our wealth. Still in health, drugs worth over 19 million francs CFA have been seized and destroyed in the east region of the country. The destruction comes after an operation that was supervised by the East Regional Governor, Gregoire Vongo. Smart Njikan Gibril tells us more.
An unusual visit made by the governor of the East region to the Nkolbiko market. Gregoire Vongo was out to seize and sensitize illegal drug vendors at the market. I came to the market to remove drugs, which are dangerous to the health. Secondly, it is to discourage the traffickers from their sacred activities. At the end of the governor's visit, drugs worth over 20 million francs CFA was seized and destroyed at the Comé Bonis locality. This practice is causing a lot of loss to the government. Since all is done secretly, it is the government that is losing, and with this fight, it permits for the normal movement of drugs to be effective, and the professionals pay their taxes to the government coffers.
et que les professionnels puissent payer les taxes qui doivent revenir à l'État.
According to the East Regional Delegate of Public Health, Lembe Esola Jose Prosper, compared to 2022, the illegal drug business has reduced. In 2022, we seized drugs worth about 300 million francs CFA, and with the same spirit, even though the current year is not yet ended, we have already seized drugs worth 93 million francs CFA. This is to show that the practice has reduced. The East Regional authorities say the fight against fake drug business will continue.
In other news, the unemployment rate in Cameroon is expected to reach 3.90% by the end of 2023. The increase is due to the fact that over 1,000 graduates leave school each year with little or no skills to start up a business or set up an enterprise of their own. Youth Business Cameroon met in Douala recently in a workshop with objectives to promote entrepreneurship in educational institutions. Mala Glory has the details.
The Minister of Public Service and Administrative Reforms, Joseph Lee, announced in June 2023 that only 2,685 will be recruited in the public service this year. Yet, we have over 1,000 graduates every year in Cameroon. For these youth to be employed, they need to create jobs or businesses for themselves despite challenges.
In our country, it's even a big challenge. As soon as you have opened a door as a business, you are in trouble. Let us be honest. You have taxations, you have this, you have that, but you should not be afraid to launch a business. You should not be afraid to start something. You should have courage, because environment will be always there. But do you have a coach? Do you have a mentor? Do you have an incubator like us?
Entrepreneurship is the only way out for these youths, given that the job market is very competitive. The objective of Global Entrepreneurship Network Cameroon and Youth Business Cameroon is that entrepreneurship be introduced in schools to limit unemployment in Cameroon.
We should promote entrepreneurship of entrepreneurs. We have trainings of senior entrepreneurs. It's one of the programs that we have. We have economic missions that we organize abroad. We have mentoring programs. Gen is bigger than Youth Business Cameroon.
Their meeting in Douala this Thursday was to remind the population of the Open Door Day in their structure located at Ange Raphael neighborhood in the city of Douala and the upcoming Global Entrepreneurship Week, which will be running from the 12th to the 18th of November 2023.
And now, before we move on to the second part of the news, let's now take this obituary. Cameroonian businessman Alhaji Mohamedou Abo Usmanu has been laid to rest in his native Marwa in the far north region of the country. His official funeral took place yesterday. Babula Jonathan comes back to that ceremony, and the report comes up next.
The mortal remains of business tycoon and Cameroon People's Democratic Movement CPDM political party bigwig Alhaji Abo arrives the Garo International Airport. He is received by a handful of local, administrative and party authorities, relatives, friends and sympathizers. The member of the Central Committee of the CPDM is recognized by his people as a man of unity who did everything possible to keep them together.
Nous gardons en mémoire un homme exceptionnel, un homme sociable, un philanthrope, un rassembleur. Et nous sommes déterminés aujourd'hui à pérenniser ses œuvres.
After being decorated posthumously with a Medal of Merit by President Paul Biya's representative, Minister Jacques Famendongo, Alhaji Abo is laid to rest at his residence in Marwa. Born in 1936, Alhaji Abo died at the age of 87, 13th October 2023 in Turkey, following months of ill health.
And viewers, that does it for the first part of the news. Thank you for always being there, but let's go with talking points comes up next. Before we move on to talking points, we take this news out of Cameroon. In Niger, first of all, the military leaders say they have foiled an attempt by Ousted President Mohamed Bazoum to escape their custody that was on Thursday. And over to Gabon, Gabon's military leader, General Brice Oligui Nguema, has given up his salary as president and will only receive a wage as commander of the Republican Guards. A roundup of our foreign page with Cedric Chakutiu.
In Niger, Mohamed Bazoum, who was overthrown by the military on July 26, attempted to flee in the night with his family, cooks and security, according to regime spokesman Amadou Abdurrahman. The escape bid failed and the main actors and some of their accomplices were arrested. The attempted escape comes as the first group of French troops arrived in neighboring Chad on Thursday after being ordered out by Niger's military rulers. Till now, France continues to support the ousted leader since the coup and is calling for his release. Over to Liberia. Liberians voted on 10th October to choose their successor to their president George Weah, who was the favorite for re-election, as well as their new parliament. For the first round, President George Weah, who is seeking a second term, received 43.8% of the vote, and his main opponent, Joseph Boakai, received 43.4%. According to the National Electoral Commission, a candidate must obtain more than 50% of the vote to win. For the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, the peaceful and regular conduct of the process and the acceptance of the results are a major challenge for these elections in a country that still has the memory of the civil wars that claimed more than 250,000 lives between 1989 and 2003. ECOWAS again calls on the Liberians to continue to exercise maximum restraint while awaiting the official results from the NEC. For the moment, tally will have to wait until the end of the week when voting is expected in 2 locations. And in Gabon, the military leader, General Brice Oligui Nguema, has given up his salary as president and will only receive salary as commander of the Republic Guard. Again, apart from renouncing his salary as president, he also decided to reduce public spending by slashing the allowances for lawmakers, eliminating political funds, and cutting session allowances. According to reports, the latest move appears to be one that has restored the Gabonese people's confidence in the country's leadership.
Coming up next is Talking Points. Stay with us. Back viewers, our guest tonight is Rene Fonse. He is of the civil society. Rene, thank you so much for accepting to be our guest on Talking Point tonight. We are talking today about the rise of violent acts across Cameroon in most cities of the country. We still remember kidnappings which happened in most cities, like in Yaoundé. A young girl was recently kidnapped and other kidnappers were asking for millions of francs CFA from her parents. We know of people who have been murdered recently for reasons known to only them. And also we come back to the student-teacher confrontations recently, students stabbing their teachers in class. Thank you again for accepting to be our guest on Talking Point tonight. Now I want to know what can be some of the reasons for this violent atmosphere in Cameroon lately?
Oh, this is a very pertinent societal problem which keeps on happening year after year, day after day, month after month. Permit me to first of all define conflict. Conflict begins when there is hatred, when an individual starts hating himself, or at the level of hating one another. That has to do with two persons, conflict between two persons, conflict between two communities, etc. Now, talking about the reoccurrence of this phenomenon in our country, the causes are so many. We have, first and foremost, the manner at which parents bring up their children. Most of the times, parents do not demonstrate acts of peaceful living among themselves, and the children that they are having and they are raising up, they see them as, from time to time, as a quarrel, they fight, and they pick up this negative attitude, and later on, they begin to, have conflict among themselves, and what is happening in the society becomes a reality. We also have another course which has to do with poverty. Poverty mentally. People are still to be educated on the importance of peaceful living. Peaceful living is the foundation of every successful relationship, every successful business, every successful family. There must be peaceful living, and this peaceful living has to do with a lot of mental investment. Parents, students, school counselors should be educated on how to be peaceful.
And now, Renee, recently we saw images of students in Bafia and Sancho in the center and west regions respectively, who stabbed their teachers, and we saw their teachers bleeding profusely in schools in front of other students. We can only imagine the gods of those students, the gods and also disrespect. Now, what's your analysis of the recent student-teacher confrontation in schools?
My analysis on student-teachers confrontation is twofold. First and foremost, on the side of the teachers. The teachers are not taught peace education in teachers training colleges. They are not taught peace education. The teachers also are facing societal problems. For example, they face the problem of poor treatment from their employers, from the state, etc. And as a result, at times, this problem overshadow their thinking ability, overshadow their thoughts. And as a result, when issues rise up between them and the students, they tend to behave poorly. And at the level of the students, it occurs principally because the students also are not educated on how to be, first and foremost, peaceful towards themselves and peaceful towards one another. The curriculum, the program, the teaching program, the educational system does not give room for peace education to be taught to students on a regular basis. There are so many schools that do not have school counselors, and as a result, this gap pushes students to take matters into their hands and go in for solutions that are usually not appropriate, by going to school with knives, with cutlasses, and attacking their teachers because their teachers have given them assignments. Their teachers ask them to maybe undertake this punishment or that punishment because of this lack of home bringing.
And now, Mr. Rene, some people want to blame it on moral education. We know that recently moral education is not being taken seriously in schools, especially public schools, and then prayers have been cancelled in public schools. Pupils and students no longer pray in schools. Can that also be a reason?
Moral education is of paramount importance, not just to the students but to the society as a whole. With moral education, you are called upon to think twice before you act. You are called upon to manage your emotions. You don't allow your emotions to control you, no matter the situations that before you. With moral education, you are called upon to have that love for self, to have that love for neighbor, to have that love for society. With moral education, you are taught to have that peace for self, that peace for neighbor, peace for society. So moral education is of great importance, and I'm calling on our authorities to attach great importance to this subject which of course does not only help peace to prevail wherever we find ourselves, wherever students, teachers find themselves, but it also helps tranquility to reign, a calm mind to reign, hence boost productivity at individual levels and collective levels.
We would have loved to know from you as a civil society actor what should be done to reduce the rate or recurrence of violent acts in major cities in Cameroon, especially in educational institutions. But sure, we'll be coming back to that in subsequent news editions when sure we'll be having you as our guest again. Thank you again for accepting to talk to us on Equinoxe Television, presenting the program Talking Points. Viewers, thank you so much for being with us. Our programs continue. The news in the French language comes up at 8 p.m. Bye-bye for now.